accountability coaching. What I do is essentially I work with people. Some of these people live in California. I've never even met them. But basically what we do is we are on Zoom, and I am taking care of you from soup to nuts. Your mental health, your steps, your physical activity, your workouts, your sleep I need to know about. Like, it's literally it's a wellness program.
Wow.
And we talk about all that. I hop on weekly calls with these people to talk about what's going on. How was your week? How did you feel? And a lot of it goes way beyond the physical part of it, because they're hitting their workouts, but there's other stuff going on. Those workouts, let's say you're like you and me, for instance, right? We spend roughly an hour and a half a week together.
Sure.
Look at all the other hours, 23 and a half hours a day you have of other things going on.
Sure.
But that all affects what happens either in your sessions or outside of your session.
All right, welcome back to our Speak Life podcast. It's your host, Mark Mead, where we're sowing seeds today for tomorrow's harvest. I hope we're bringing value to you. I got a very special guest with me today, who I'm just excited to have here. She's a ball of energy. She's been on the scene with me for about 7 years. We'll get into that, 7+ years. And, it's just amazing to have you here. Stephanie Gencarelli, a dynamic entrepreneur and fitness enthusiast, co-founder of HardBodyz Gym in Verona, New Jersey. She co-founded it with her brother probably 15+ years ago. Does that make sense?
Correct.
And been a personal trainer of mine for 7 years. Okay. Graduated with a bachelor's degree in business management from Berkeley. And you and your brother kind of hooked up so that you could manage the business operations and the branding.
Correct.
I don't know if you're still doing that today, but I'm going to learn all about that. The gym is now 2,700 members, which is like a feat in and of itself, considering we had to go through some stuff over the last few years, especially in your industry. And then you recently launched a Pilates studio with your husband called Rebel Core in Rosa, New Jersey. Welcome to the podcast, Steph. You're crushing it. Heck of a year for you.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Amazing. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's an honor of mine. We've been laughing so much even before we even started rolling, just because of our history. And, you've been an integral part of my life. I mean, maybe my fitness doesn't show. Not her fault. It's because I like to eat. All right, y'all, chill on her, brother. But Steph's been a beast. She's been an encourager. She knows every single part of the body like you would not imagine and how to work it. So it's an honor to have you on today, and it's an honor to have you in studio with me. But for our guests, can you kind of give us more of a background, more of a backdrop of kind of your upbringing, and then how did you kind of make it into the fitness business?
Totally. I grew up in a very loving, caring family and a healthy family. My family was healthy my entire life. My brother was into fitness at a very young age. But I struggled after high school. After sports and all that ended, I packed on some weight, and I didn't have sports to turn to anymore. That kept me active, that kept me going. So I was overweight in my late teens, early 20s, even going into the gym. I was in college, steadily gaining weight, and we were kind of trying to figure things out, where we wanted to go with our lives. We both knew that we wanted to run businesses one day. Okay. We just didn't know what. So I graduated college. I started working for corporate Canon. Great job, great, experience. The camera company. I was on the business division or business solutions side of it.
Sure.
And it was a great job. I learned so much. I had a great, working community there. But it wasn't what made me tick, So I was riding it out, see what things might present themselves. At the time, my brother was a fitness director of a local gym.
Okay.
Killing
it. So he kind of knew that was his deal.
He knew. Once he went into personal training, he knew that that's where he wanted to be.
Was he always jacked? Lose jack?
He was jacked.
He was always jacked.
Those trophies we have at the gym, those are his. Those are real. So yeah, he competed.
Really?
Well, yeah, he did the whole nine and started very young. literally at 17, he started competing.
Got it.
By 18, he was a certified personal trainer. By 20, he was a fitness director of a gym.
Wow.
So he kind of hit his ceiling in that gym and was like, where do we go from here? I wasn't super happy where I was. And we kind of just were like, listen, you're in fitness. I want to run a business. You do the day-to-day. I'll run the business.
Whose idea was this?
It really, I got to give credit where credit's due. It was my dad's.
Really?
My dad.
Huh.
We were like,
that's pretty awesome.
What do we do with this? My dad is in real estate.
Got it.
So he's like, let's see what's out there. My dad was in the position where basically he was thinking about semi-retiring.
Got it.
So he's like, let's see what's out there. I'll buy the property.
Got it.
You guys run the business. And that's exactly what happened. We got very lucky finding our location.
Your location's great.
I mean, it's perfect. Yeah. It's the center of Essex County. I mean, on one of the busiest state highways. It's wild. So we were blessed to find that property.
Right.
My dad's a contractor also, so he literally did the build out with my brother, with a team of people.
That's so encouraging.
And a year later, HardBodyz was born.
Whoa.
So we rolled into it. Like I said, I was overweight. My brother was the day-to-day guy. I was in an office up in the top corner loft of the thing. Never any intention of training people.
Got it.
Until I was in that atmosphere, it just breathed new life into me.
Wow. How old were you then?
I was young. I was 21, 22.
Really?
Young.
Wow.
Very young. Young and naive.
Done and graduated.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
I wasn't even with Canon for a year.
Got it.
By the time we did this.
Okay.
But I knew very, very quickly that wasn't for me.
Okay.
So we did it. We took a leap of faith. Everything we had, we poured into it. And like I said, HardBodyz was born. And about a year later, that's when I really found, I would say less than a year. Between 6 months of being open and a year later, I knew that was my calling. But here I am, like overweight, running a gym. And I'm like, what am I doing? I got to get it together.
Right.
So I literally learned everything I could about exercise. I hired one of our trainers to train me. And I learned everything I could about nutrition.
Was this I need to lose weight to represent my product? Was this is my career. I need to juice every ounce of like a juicer, squeeze the fruit out of this career? Which one?
Like, it was more like I have to walk the walk if I'm going to talk the talk.
So the product. You wanted to be an example of the product.
Yes.
And the service.
And also, like, I'm surrounded by all of these healthy people.
Yeah.
I'm running this business and I'm the least healthy one in the building.
Got it. So that was like your...
It was kind of both.
That was your main epiphany is like, let me look the part of the product.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, because even though I was supposed to be running back end, I then, like I said, I loved what we were doing.
Right,
It became a part of me.
Sure.
That it was a natural evolution. It wasn't like, oh my God, like I have to do this right. It was like, no, I really need to do this,
That's
like
good.
to be happier, to be healthier.
Good. That's great.
And then like I said, I learned everything that I needed to know, and then I did it for myself. And it wasn't until almost like a year after that, probably 2-3 years in business, that then people started approaching me. They remembered me from when we first opened to then, and they were like, "What did you do? Can you help me?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't do that." And then I was like, "Well, wait, why don't I do that? I can."
I love that about your mind.
And
like you're just
then,
unstoppable in a way where if you put your mind to it, you're running and you're going to do all the research necessary to come. That's great.
Like a sponge. I literally poured myself into it to get everything that I could back. I learned from everybody that I had around me, and then some. I just craved the info. So once I had it and I felt more secure and confident with it, I was like, why am I not helping more people? I did it for me. Why can't I do it for other people?
Sure. Okay, that's wonderful. Great story. Thanks for sharing that. When you talk about HardBodyz, how difficult of a launch? I get it. Your dad helped and you guys, but it's still, you got to bring the clientele in. You got to kind of get the thing rolling.
Yeah.
People have to believe that this is going to be their gym. How did you make that? First off, how long did that take? And then how did you kind of start instilling y'all's values into your community?
Yeah, so that was tough, I won't lie. None of us had been, aside from my brother, had been in that industry before. We didn't know what it was going to take to bring the people to us. So what we did is we really learned as we went. And we started a pre-sale before we opened. About 3 months before we knew we were going to be open. And we had some people coming in to sign up. It was a very, very slow trickle. At that time, I really knew nothing about marketing. I didn't know how to market ourselves. I didn't know what to focus on. You know, at that time, honestly, social media was there, but it was still growing. It really wasn't. It was still like print. It was magazines, newspaper,
What year was this?
mail.
I don't think I covered this.
2010.
Got it.
No, sorry, 2009.
Got it.
2009.
Okay. So this is in the middle of like a recession.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So back up a little. I should have captured that. So then y'all got the building at probably a really good, because that was a real estate crash.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
We were, like
That's
I said,
amazing.
very blessed to find what we found.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, that between the property was sitting there for a long time.
Sure.
It was years ago. It was Verona Plumbing Supply.
Okay.
It was closed for a long time because it was a real, like,
Yeah.
dog of a building. Like,
Okay.
it needed a ton of work. We gutted that building.
Makes sense.
New electrical, everything. Like, my dad ran thousands of feet of wire. It was crazy. It took almost a year.
Wow.
To do just the build.
Got it.
But yes, because of that position that we were in, like, we got very lucky
Awesome.
when we bought the building.
All right. You can continue. I'm sorry.
But no, that's okay. But the marketing was tough to figure out. We started with print marketing, and we realized very, very quickly that unfortunately that wasn't working for us, because things were already starting to shift into the social media. But again, I wasn't there yet. I didn't know that. So it was a slow climb, and I would have to say it was a good 5 years until we were doing well, until we could even hire anybody to help.
That's so real.
It was literally, I would open to half the day. My brother would come relieve me to the other half of the day. We didn't have a staff for 5 years.
That's crazy.
No team, aside from a couple trainers.
Yeah.
But we really couldn't even hire our front desk support team for 5 years.
Wow.
So it was a very slow climb.
Wow.
Also because we didn't have a big name behind us.
Right, sure.
It was a no name. Nobody knew us.
Correct.
And in the area that we're in, the community likes community.
Right.
We weren't from the area either.
Right.
So we had all these things against us. Or no name, nobody knows who we are. Brand new gym. Like, who knew? People didn't even know if we were going to be around in a year. So that's another thing that people are concerned about. They don't know who you are. They don't know your business. They don't know if you're going to stick around. So they're very hesitant to trust you.
Yeah.
So we really did. I think we got lucky in the sense that because people knew we were a family, they liked that. The community likes family-run stuff.
Got it.
So that was a blessing,
Yeah.
but it was a slow climb.
Got it.
It really was.
Wow, that's very interesting because, it's funny, we'll get into Rebel, but the mindset of an entrepreneur, what you just said seems so old school. Yeah. It seemed 5 years. People that's like walking the plank. I'm going to die before my business gets going, which you guys are successful. And I'm painting this picture because sometimes it takes time.
It does.
It feels like people want microwavable success. There's so many micro examples that look like macro examples of microwavable success. The percentages aren't that high, folks. I'm just... that of people that are, Instagram and TikTok can make it look like, gone, bye. But, 5 years before you could even hire a staff. So that means that your work schedule, because the gym opens early. You know where I'm going with this.
We had these conversations,
The gym opens early, probably closes late. I mean, how many hours is the gym actually open a day?
So yeah, we have really long hours too for a family-run gym. We're open from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
On the weekdays, and then Saturdays and Sundays 7 to 3.
Yeah.
So we were really, each of us,
7 days a week.
6. Yeah. We alternated the weekend days, but we were both 6 days a week, probably at least 10 hours a day, 10, 12 hours a day.
And just not complaining.
No.
Just that's our business.
That's what we got to do.
Right?
That's what you do. When you pour everything that you have into this, there's no other option. There wasn't for us.
Right.
Like, this was like, this is going to work because we're going to make it work.
I love it so much. We'll get into that. That's really good. So when we talk about bringing the community in, would you say that was one of your biggest challenges? Were there other challenges, equipment-wise, or things that may provide value to our audience?
I think honestly, I mean, yes, we had some challenges with as far as like getting certain equipment or anything like that. But I think our biggest challenge was really bringing the community in. Like I said, we're not from the area, so they didn't know who we were. We aren't a name or a brand. They didn't know that either. So that was the hardest thing. That was the biggest challenge. Really making connections.
Yes.
So we really had to.
How did you go about?
Yeah.
Was it bootstrapping? Was it submerging yourself in the community? Was it patronizing other businesses and letting them know you existed? How did you actually make that transition pre-social media?
Yeah, all of it, honestly. I introduced myself to every business in town, literally walking in, buying a pack of gum from you and letting you know who I was, buying a bagel from you. I invited them in to have free workouts. Like, come, we're a new business in town. Just throwing myself into anything that I could. 5Ks that were in the area, showing up, putting up a table, donating whenever we could to sports teams, kids sports, all that stuff. I still do it.
Right.
Any opportunity that I get. So it was just about, honestly, I think it's about showing them that they can trust you.
That's good.
That we're here for the community. Even though you may not know us, we want to be here. We want to be in this community. And I think that a lot of people appreciated that.
No doubt.
Because we have some of the same members. I mean, honestly, we're very lucky and blessed in the sense that we've got some of the same members that we've had from day one. They love that we know their names. And that's a big part of it, is creating this community that people want to remain a part of and be a part of. I think that was really important.
No doubt.
Immersing ourselves in everything.
You guys are legends, man. Seriously. I mean, like, now you have a name. And now it travels. But, when you think about, I'm just picturing this because I know how outgoing you are. You're walking into businesses and like, was Lou doing some of that? Was that mainly you? Was like, hey, go to the gym and meet Lou, where he's like there bricked up and you're like, hey, I'm out here. I'll see you in a few hours. Hey, Lou's at the gym. I'm out here. Was it like that, or was it a little bit of both?
For the most part, yes, because I really am like, I'm the social butterfly. I'm just like everywhere. And then still operationally, he really was still the front man. He was doing more of the day to day. I really was pounding the pavement because that was just my natural forte.
Right.
So yes, but also he was out there making a lot of connections and stuff like that. Like, his best friend owns a business in town. So that was great. They opened actually around the same time that we do. Bello Barbers, you know Bello.
Okay, yes.
So he's out there with like the businesses that he has connections to. But it really, it was primarily me and my social butterflyness.
And so how did your business management or business acumen start to come into play when it came to the numbers, the books, the way you price your gym?
Yeah.
How did that all come in? Who is that you?
To be very honest with me, or with you, excuse me, it was, I can't really take credit for that, to be honest, because we all thought it was going to be me. And then when we were in it, I was like, wow, those 4 years, I'm like.
What did they do for me?
What did I get from that? No, I can't. I mean, obviously, education is never a waste. It really isn't.
I almost spit my water up. It wasn't your fault. It was mine. But go ahead. I'm listening. You're right.
Never I
agree with you 100% on that.
But I didn't learn what I needed to learn until I was in business.
The field, yeah.
Honestly, I learned everything as I went, including the books. Market research was huge. I didn't realize how much market research we really needed to do to figure out where we needed to price ourselves, so we didn't price ourselves out.
Right.
Because again, we had to compete with these big national brands. Right. Even though we are offering it or trying to offer a different product and a different experience, you still have real life competition with these brands.
Right.
So market research really taught us a lot in the beginning.
Right.
And the business taught me what I needed to know, what I needed to learn. It really
Baptized by fire. That's how it works, right?
Kinda. Yeah. I was like, what? The business taught me.
Hey, jump on this treadmill. 15 up, 8. 8 speed.
That's it. And you can't control the speed. It's wild. It is.
No, I get it. I totally get it. It makes sense. You know, you had mentioned how bad you wanted to start becoming the brand, the service, the product itself, and you went on your fitness journey. And I know when I found you, that was like your story. Like I'm sure, like when you take on a client, it makes sense that you tell that story. But was there a little bit of a health scare or something that kind of sped that up for you?
Yes. So yeah, it really all happened in that same year when we were getting things together for the gym. Not only being in that environment absolutely inspired me to be better, but again, it was just timing, I guess. But I was pretty much at the heaviest I ever was. And I was always good about, thinking I was taking care of myself, going to the doctor, regular things, all this stuff, whatever.
Sounds
and
like
I was
me.
convinced all those years that I was overweight had to be a problem. They just didn't find it yet because I was doing all the right things.
Right.
Except calling myself out on my own excuses. Okay. Like I said, I was the heaviest I was. And my blood work came back this one time and I was pre-diabetic. And the doctor looked at me and said, like, you're pre-diabetic and I guess at the time I had to be 20.
Right.
And then that's all I needed to hear.
Right.
That's all I needed to hear. And it was basically like, okay, I'm going to see you in 6 months. And if this doesn't change, you have to go on medication.
Right.
My family history, my dad's side, there's diabetes actually on both sides of my family. And like I said, now I'm in this environment. I'm like, I can't live this life anymore. What am I doing?
100% sense.
It woke me up. And I never looked back. Like I never looked back. I changed everything from that day forward.
That's strong.
Yeah. And
so personal training became something that the members wanted from you because of your transformation.
Yeah.
And then, when Natasha was my assistant at the time, and she called because I'm like, dude, I need to get in shape. This is like 2017, 16, 17. And I'm like, I need, and so she starts doing the research. She calls your HardBodyz, and like you're all in. Like you pick up the phone, you're doing the selling, you're doing the training. I'm like, what? This is the. And then she mentions you're the owner of the gym. I'm like, how is this possible? But your story of like transformation drives your passion to train and to learn so much about the body and to like. I watch you like you're submersed. 100% in your boot camps, the group sessions. I've been a part of your group sessions before, which are scary. And it's like, it's amazing your commitment level as the owner, but also in all these other roles all these other hats that you wear. At this point of your career, do you see that as necessary? Do you see it as fun? Do you see it as I'm dying to hear this based on your facial expression. I'm going to shut up because I just want to hear this answer.
So yes, the crazy part of me, this is all literally fun for me. I love waking up every day and getting to do what I do. Like I do, whether I'm tired, and I'm sure you can attest to this, but you can see it in my face when I'm tired, but I still, you can, right? On those sessions,
you need to sleep.
On our early morning sessions, whether I'm tired or not, there's just a switch in me that I'm able to flip because I really, truly feel so blessed that I get to do what I want to do and do this every day that I'm just like, I get to do this. So yes, it is fun for me. I genuinely have so much fun doing what I get to do. And also, I feel that it's still necessary to be at this level, to have my hands in everything, because the last thing that I want is for this to feel like a factory, for what I do to feel like a factory and impersonal, because it's not. It's a very personal thing. It's a very intimate thing, trusting somebody with your health. So both, I think I would have to say, to answer that question. It is fun for me, but it's also, I feel it's necessary to be this involved with everything that I do.
That's a mindset, right? I've always had so much respect for you.
Thank you.
Because of, you're up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock, which Yo, I ain't
It's almost time for bed.
I'm not even getting into that. Because 3:30, I mean, like, something's wrong with you, but I mean, like, you're running a business, so I get it.
Yeah.
But the commitment level is like, wow. And so I have a lot of respect for that, obviously. You guys opened, like, in the middle of a financial crisis. You guys survived the pandemic. Because I remember these conversations, you know. You're like everywhere. You're like doing boot camps in the yards, in your freaking in the parking lot of your gym, at restaurants. You're like doing virtuals. You're like in it, and like it was survival mode for real, right? Like,
literally.
you know, a lot of the gyms around you closed down.
Yeah.
What was that time like for you, for your business as an as an entrepreneur, the operator entrepreneur of your business, but two, just like as a what's the word I want to say? As an ambassador for gyms, as an ambassador for health and fitness.
Yeah. It was, I won't lie. I mean, you were right there with me. I mean, you're literally one of the only people that stuck with me through it. That's what I was telling him. I'm like, in my living room, his house, I'm like, we made it work. He's doing his thing. He got all this equipment. No, it really was. It was terrifying. I remember, speaking of the pandemic, the day of the shutdown, March 16th. I remember that day as clear as it was yesterday.
Wow.
And I was terrified. Because at first we didn't know.
Right.
We didn't know how long we were going to be shut down.
Yeah.
So for me, we thought it was going to be, initially we thought it was going to be the 2 weeks. They basically told everybody you got a 2 week vacation, staycation, stay home. We're out of this in 2 weeks. Yeah. 2 weeks turned into 9 months.
Wow.
9 months we were shut down.
Wow.
That we couldn't be in our building making money. We couldn't pay our bills unless we made money. Right?
100%.
So we were terrified. We didn't know what the future was going to be like because we didn't know it was going to be 9 months.
Right.
But like I said, and like you said, it was survival mode.
Right.
I was like, we don't have enough option here. We got to make it through. We got to make this work. So what restaurants are open? What parking lots are open?
Facts.
I did. I literally did. I put as many feelers as I could out into the community and was like, whatever you're comfortable with, we'll make it work.
Yes.
So we called them buff brunches. We teamed up with restaurants where we did a workout and then you'd have brunch outside. It was all outside dining at that point.
Right.
So we did that. We made it work. I had workouts in parking lots.
Yeah.
You know, you and I kicked off virtual right away.
Right
and
away.
we're still going strong. I love it. But we made it work.
Right.
It was terrifying. But to answer the other part of your question, as an ambassador, I also felt, you know, of the fitness industry, I also felt kind of like a duty to, even though I was terrified and I didn't know what was in store for my business and my life, my future at that point, I felt a duty to also be uplifting during that time and not show my fear kind of thing.
Sure.
I did. I kind of had to hide it and be positive.
That's what I saw, which is incredible.
I had to.
Right.
It's like you can't show fear.
Right. You gotta lead.
You
lead
can't
them
show
through.
fear or they smell you. They smell the fear. So no, I found myself in this place that even though I was terrified every single day and anxious every single day of like not knowing what was gonna come, I felt that I had to keep walking the walk for people.
Right.
For people, for myself, just to even get myself out of bed every day too.
Right.
Because
Sure.
there was a part of that where I felt like at the end of the day, I just felt I was depressed. Like a part of me was getting depressed because I was like, what is happening here?
Sure.
Like we didn't have answers.
Right.
And also too, we didn't have a lot of money coming in.
Sure.
Our bills still had to get paid.
Yeah.
So things were getting really scary.
Yeah.
But I just had to keep going. I had to keep pulling myself up every day and just, we'll get through this. We will get through this. We have to. And that's what I had to do.
Was everyone around you, the people that worked for you, your brother or other business partners, were they saying the same things?
I'll be honest, no. Like my dad, yes. My dad's always my voice of reason. He's always my positive driving force. He's always got a silver lining for every situation. So I'm daily phone calls and talks with my dad, like literally talking me out of it. But I mean, my brother was trying to stay positive. We were trying to do what we could do. Right. But it was just scary. No, I have to say, like, it wasn't sunshine and rainbows. Right. People were scared. Our staff, I mean, we tried to do everything that we could to everybody. Thankfully, we were able to maintain our staff and take care of them through the pandemic and do, any opportunities that I could find for them to do something. Right. We did. Right. I even had AJ out in the parking lot with me, other Stephanie, like anything I could do to keep everybody working, doing something, feeling like they were doing something during that time. I did. But no, everybody was pretty scared, pretty nervous. But our community showed up for us. Oh, wow. That's one of the biggest things that was a takeaway for me. Wow. Because we were a small family-owned business. We had our community literally reaching out to us. Like, listen, don't stop charging my membership. We want to support you guys. And that, like, blew me away. I was like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, and I literally was like to my dad and my brother, I'm like, we can't take their money. Like, what are we going to do? We're not in business. Like, we can't do this. We're out of business right now. Wow. It was a really hard thing for us. And so, like, honestly, what we did, we did with the people that told us to, but I found ways to give back to them. Like, I would literally, like, during that time, I don't know if you remember, we were doing anything to make some money to pay the bills. So I was literally doing shake packs at the time, where we make shakes at the gym, right? Yeah. But people were missing them. I would literally put all of the ingredients in a frozen or a baggie and freeze it, and then drop it off to them for the week. People were paying for that stuff so that they felt like they were doing something to help us, and they were. Yeah. So I would do stuff like that. I would reciprocate by, if they paid their membership that month, even though we were out of business, I'd drop off some shake packs to them. Anything I could do. Right. Host them at my outdoor workouts, something to feel like I was saying thank you. But it was a large thanks to our community that we're still here today. Without, we wouldn't have been if we didn't have that community.
That's amazing. The way you tell it, but also like the fact that is another chronological like pillar in the ground, right? Yeah. And so what were some like huge takeaways for you? Like, what did you learn about business and like navigating crisis?
Yeah.
What did you learn about that?
I learned a lot. Honestly, COVID taught me a lot. The biggest thing was that you must be willing to pivot. You have to pivot. You have to adapt, because things are constantly changing. And if you don't adapt and you don't move with what the business is telling you you've got to move with, it'll leave you in the dust. Honestly, we had to pivot. We had to do things that made me very uncomfortable. I never did a virtual session in my life before we did COVID virtual sessions. Never. But we figured it out. Right. We made it work. Right. Same thing with outdoor workouts. We didn't have equipment available to us. So we had to lliterally just use body weights, some light weights, mats here and there. It taught me that you need to adapt. You need to pivot. Because that can happen. You're going to need to pivot at the most random, unexpected times. You never know what business can be like. It can change in an instant.
I hear you talking. The word that's just smacking me in the face is resilience. It's 2024. People have been through a lot over the last few years. People are, new generation is coming in. Business, entrepreneurship is a huge buzzword. A lot of people want to run their own deal. Can you speak to the community about resilience? Yeah. Because you're like resilience personified. And I want to hear your take on like, what does that mean to you?
That's a tough question. Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like I'm resilient.
I'm telling you, you are. I know you are. Like, I'm not like, I didn't meet you on the street and say, hey, you work out, you're pretty like resilient. You have a great attitude. No. I've watched you for years. Wake up early, show up for people. I saw what you did during the pandemic. Like, I'm not suggesting that you're resilient. You are mother freaking resilient.
Thank you.
Please. That's why I need you to tell us what it means.
Honestly, resilience for me
Yes.
is find what makes you tick and love doing it every day and just keep doing it. You have to, again, I still think pivoting is a big part of that, to be able to be resilient. You have to. You have to be able to also kind of remove yourself and look from like outside the box. Because otherwise, like when you're in it, especially when it's something that you are passionate about and it's your baby and this is something that you've grown from nothing, you can sometimes get tunnel vision.
No.
And what I mean by that is like we had a very clear vision of where we were going, right? But COVID changed everything.
Yes.
So then you have to step back and say, okay, like what do we do with what's at hand? And you're like, okay, this is what we've got to work with. This is what we're gonna do. So honestly, I think I guess I'm kind of like dancing around the question, but to answer your question is being resilient to me really does mean being able to look at things from like outside the box, pivoting and full steam ahead, whether it was your original plan or not. You got to keep going.
Keep it moving. Keep it going.
Keep
I love
it moving,
that.
yes.
That's great. Let's introduce Rebel Core. You know, I don't know how much you were involved with Pilates, because like HardBodyz is like a muscle head gym. You know what I'm saying? Like it's straight weights, right?
Yes.
Would that be fair? Like
hardcore weights.
Yeah, hardcore weights in like a little small room to like.
Yes.
But you found your way into this Pilates space.
Yes.
You could tell us a little bit about how it piqued your interest, and then talk to us a little bit about your new project that's in Roseland, New Jersey.
So Rebel Core, I found, to your point, HardBodyz is all hardcore gym. It is weights. We do have cardio equipment. We have the small studio for stretching and stuff like that, but it's weights. It's strength training. Right. And as you know, that's my first love. That's what I eat, breathe, and live. I love it.
Legs. Eat, breathe, and sleep legs.
So because I love it, I consistently was strength training. That's all I was doing. And as you know, as you get older and as you are doing those things even harder, your body needs balance also. Yeah. And as we get older, our bodies change too. They're looking for other things and even more balance as we get older. So a few years ago, I would say it's about 3 now, I love my strength training, but that's all I was doing. And I was starting to like get into this place where I'm like, okay, I'm strong. I'm happy that I'm strong, but I'm also stiff. I didn't have the mobility that I really would have wanted or was looking for. Like I have a neck issue, a shoulder issue, chronic issue from when I was younger. My knees are not great. So
don't get old, man. I keep telling you stuff. Don't get old.
I try not to.
Go ahead.
But I was stiff, and I'm like, you know what? I need something else. I need to find some balance here. So I tried other things. I tried yoga. I love yoga, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for.
You're real
It
active.
just, I can't slow down that much. I was like, wait, we're not done yet? It's only a minute. Love yoga. It really is. It's an amazing practice. I still do it twice a month-ish, but it wasn't what I was looking for. Sure. So I had a friend who was doing, at the time, she was just calling it Pilates. She's like, come try this class with me. And I'm like, class? I don't do classes. Like, I just strength train. I was a little bit of a snob about it, I'll be honest. I'm like, no, I don't do that. Group fitness, not my thing, but glad you're enjoying it. Like, have fun. She's like, it's not what you think. Come try it. So I go to this class, long story short, and I loved it. I was like, what was that? Like, I want to do that again. It was incredible. It was a full body workout, just like Rebel. And I was like, I need more of this. And I started doing it 1-2 days a week, incorporating it with my strength training. And before I even realized it, a couple months later, I realized I didn't have the stiffness that I had just a couple months before.
Wow.
My core was stronger.
Wow.
My neck and shoulder wasn't locking up like it usually does.
Wow.
And I was like, what changed? It was that. I was doing that in conjunction with everything else I was already doing.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, there's something to this. And I kept doing it. It became a natural, regular part of my life. That's when I went to 4-day strength training and then 2 or 3 Pilates. And I was loving it, but there was nothing else like it in the area. So there I go. I said to Bill, I'm like, listen, I'm loving this. And then I eventually got him to try it.
Right.
With me
He hadn't tried. Right.
Yes.
So he didn't introduce it to you.
No.
You introduced it to him.
I introduced it to Bill.
Because he's a workout warrior too.
Exactly. Strength training is his first love also. But then actually a couple years ago, maybe about a year and a half now, he got into running and long distance running.
Got it.
And with running especially, on top of strength training, you really need to take care of your body and make sure that you're taking care of recovery, mobility, flexibility. Otherwise, that's when injury happens.
Sure.
So I introduced it to him, and he, again, was resistant to it. But once he fell into it, he was like, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And he does. He still does it at least once a week.
Got it.
And it has really helped him with his hips, keep his hips open, core strength. And just like I said, the flexibility, mobility is huge. So after he started doing it regularly, I was like, this is amazing. And there's nothing like this around here. I really think that we should look into this. Let's see what we could do. And so we looked into a franchise, and we did. We've played around with it a little bit, chatted with them, until I finally was just like, you know what? This is great, but I think we can create our own here.
Wow.
Because also, too, I wanted... The workout that I did was amazing, but I also wanted to make it a little different.
Okay.
I wanted to make it my own. Okay. If we went ahead with this franchise, we wouldn't have been able to do that.
Got it.
So
Makes sense.
we got to this point. We were at a fork in the road, and we're like, okay, yes, it would be easier to go with this franchise because they're going to help us.
Yes.
They have the blueprint for it.
Yeah.
But we want to change it up a little bit.
Right.
We don't want to do it exactly the way that they're doing it. Right. So we were like, okay. So we kind of went back to the drawing board. We took probably close to 6 to 9 months to create our brand, essentially. Okay. And then we were like, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to make this work.
That's awesome.
We did. We dove right in. We dove in head first. When we decided that we were going to do it, we had a trip planned. We were going to Canada last year, yeah. And we were also talking about getting married. Right. So we were like, okay, we're going on this trip, but then when we come back, it's full steam ahead. We're taking our business full steam ahead. So we decided to elope on that trip. We're like, okay, that's done. Here we go. I'm like, we're all in now.
Wow.
And that is how Rebel was born. We literally, as soon as we got back from that trip, we signed our lease, we customized our machines, and we were full steam ahead.
So, okay, this is amazing. A lot you just said. I was like somewhere trying to latch onto the machines because I feel like I don't know Pilates, but the machines from the franchise, were those different than the ones you have?
Similar. So they're made by the same company. Okay. It's an X-Former. But the beauty of this company is that we were able to customize our machines the way that we wanted them for the stuff that we were going to do. So like you've been at Rebel now. You've seen the machines. You've been on them. Like we have different types of straps, different resistance that we wanted. We have different cutouts compared to other studios and stuff like that. So we were able to customize every single piece of that machine according to our specifications.
Got it.
So that was cool.
That's amazing. And, you know, I know why you got a high on it because I went, it was painful. But I hadn't felt like that in a long time.
It's incredible.
Like the full use of your body from like...
Everything is working.
You know what I'm saying? And then like getting through it and like feeling like, I just did that. Like psychologically, that was pretty awesome.
It is.
To the point where I said, I got to go again. And so I came the next week, right? What am I, 2 weeks in now?
Yeah.
Okay. And I just booked the third week. So I've become, and you know how much I love to work out. Literally dragging me off out of the bed. But to feel that liberate, like, I'm like.
It's empowering.
It's amazing. And so the fact that you seized it as an opportunity, saw it as an opportunity, seized it as an opportunity, and like realized this is not a lot going on here in this area, and it was a passion. Like it rose in you, which is incredible. I felt that. And again, I can now speak to what your community, I can now speak to the way y'all build community. Because Rebel's new.
Yeah.
It's been there how long?
6 months.
6 months.
Just celebrated 6 months.
I go in there, and the same warmth that you have, which makes perfect sense. The gym's so warm. The people are warm. They know it's hard, but the other people working out, what do we call those people? Members that are doing fitness. They're encouraging. The trainers are encouraging. They're like, let's just get, like, it's almost like, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this together, and you're better off for it. And so there's a lot to that for me as I'm working out, because I'm kind of like, the reason you're my trainer for 7 years is because I know if you're booked, I'm showing up. Right? No different than if I go on the Rebel app and book it. I mean, I got home last Friday night at 3 a.m, and I had an 8:30. I was like, I can't miss. Someone was waiting for me. That I need that. Sorry, but I need that. Some of y'all are like self-starters, congratulations. I need that. And then on top of that, there's someone there. Yeah. If someone was waiting for me like a partner and I don't know how to use the apparatus, I'm not going. Right. But someone's there teaching you how to use it, walking you, like, it was amazing. Like, amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
On the new gym. I mean, thank you. And you guys crushed it. So now we can now parallel back to HardBodyz, which is a long 5 years. Yeah. But now you have this community, you have this background in fitness, you're like this queen diva fitness girl, and now you've got this new gym. You have social media now because you know how to use it. Yes. Can you talk about that acceleration? Because this place is like waitlisted.
Yeah. So the social media has been huge. That, especially with Rebel right now, because it is a newer business, it's been everything. We haven't done an ounce of advertising off of social media. That's where everything comes from. And honestly, most of that has been actually organic. It's completely honest. We paid for very little.
Got it.
I think because, and I have to credit my husband Bill with all of this, he really does such a great job with the social media. Between the photo and video that he gets, the quality, I mean, that's his passion.
Yes.
So he brings that to the table, which is amazing for us and perfect. But he has such a knack also for connecting with people also. He does. I mean, in person, but also on social media. He knows what people want to see and what is engaging. Nice. And he does a great job of it. I think also what has helped us become so busy and create this beautiful community is because there's nothing else like this around.
Right.
And there's nothing else like this that is as welcoming as we are.
Welcoming.
And that's straight from our customers. Right. I mean, that's what we hear from them.
Yes.
That it literally, it makes me feel like I'm on a high all over again. The minute they tell me, like, thank you for being here. This place changed my life.
Wow.
Or they've literally said that to me.
Makes sense.
And I get chills even just saying it now.
Makes sense, yeah.
Because I'm like, I genuinely do this and get up because I love doing this every day. Right. So for me to hear that back from people, that's all I need. That's literally, that makes my day.
That's amazing.
It's a beautiful thing. And I genuinely set out to create this community of like-minded people that were going to support each other. And the fact that it's happened is so humbling to me.
Wow.
I'm so appreciative and so grateful for
awesome.
Everybody that walks through those doors. That, like I said, I could be exhausted. I could be having a horrible day. The minute... I don't know anybody else that could say this, so I feel very blessed. The minute I walk into work, I'm good. Usually it's the opposite.
I know, I love it. I know, right? It's crazy.
It's
but
wild.
Good for you.
I swear, and I truly mean that, and I believe it. I do. I get to work, and I'm on. I'm happy.
That's amazing.
And I love it.
That's great. Now, there's a piece of physical fitness, which you know very well, that plays into mental health. Right. 100%. And I'm sure with mental health becoming a kind of a huge buzzword over the last 5 to 7 years, the amount of intelligence and the way we can associate with it better now, We have a healthy relationship with mental health now, better, more healthy relationship with mental health now. But you see it every day, right? Like, how do you think physical fitness plays a role in mental health and vice versa?
I personally think they are completely parallel. They are parallel. Physical fitness not only has been shown to and proven to help help people that are struggling with mental health, but it is also, even if you are struggling with your mental health, there's something to be said for moving your body. It does something where it can help clear your mind.
Yes.
So that you can then focus on tackling the other issues that you're dealing with.
Right.
But physical fitness and mental health are very closely aligned.
Wow.
I honestly think they go hand in hand.
Got it.
And when it really presented itself to me was actually during COVID,
Yeah.
when everybody was stagnant. Everybody was stagnant for 2 weeks. Nobody did anything. I don't believe anybody that said they went for a run in those 2 weeks. Nobody did anything.
Right.
But mental health crisis spiked during that time.
Sure.
Obviously because of what was going on,
Sure.
but also because people were stagnant.
Right.
Nobody was moving.
Right.
And the minute people got moving again, that's what came out. Like, okay, we're all obviously terrified and depressed and sad about what's going on here and unsure about what the future holds. But get out and move your body and you're going to feel a little bit better that day. And honestly, people started doing that and realized that they go hand in hand. So now it's honestly, I have some accountability. That's another program that I have. It's an accountability coaching program where I don't see some of these people in person, but I talk to them on a weekly basis.
Really?
And that's one of the biggest things since COVID that has now dropped into that program is the mental health aspect of it.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wait. I didn't know about this. I might need this. Wait, I'm kidding. All right. All right. So wait a minute. So what's spawned off of physical fitness? Break this down.
So physical fitness, right?
Yeah.
Is just, I mean, it I don't know the best way to say it, to be honest with you, but do you mean with the program, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
accountability coaching, what I do is essentially I work with people. Some of these people live in California. I've never even met them. But basically what we do is we are on Zoom and I am taking care of you from soup to nuts, your mental health, your steps, your physical activity, your workouts, your sleep. I need to know about. Like it's literally it's a wellness program.
Wow.
And we talk about all that. I hop on weekly calls with these people to talk about what's going on. How was your week? How did you feel? And a lot of it goes way beyond the physical part of it because they're hitting their workouts, but there's other stuff going on. Those workouts, let's say you're like you and me, for instance, right? We spend roughly an hour and a half a week together.
Sure.
Look at all the other hours, 23 and a half hours a day you have of other things going on.
Sure.
But that all affects what happens either in your sessions or outside of your sessions.
Got it.
How you eat, how you're handling things, how you're sleeping, all of those things. It's full circle.
Got it.
So when I realized that during COVID, again, I had to pivot and give them what they needed from me because it went beyond just getting in your workouts.
Wow.
If you're getting in your workouts, but everything else is in the toilet, for lack of a better term, what are we doing? We're spinning your wheels. We have to tackle the mental health aspect of it.
Wow.
You have to be strong and working on that up here to be able to do all the other things.
Wow. I'm blown away. I never heard this.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to take that part in. I asked the question about physical and mental health, not realizing you became an ambassador for that as well. Like, I didn't know you were doing that. That's amazing. Like, I didn't know it was that deep. Like, I didn't know what answer I'd get, but I certainly didn't know that you made it part of your mission to make them parallel. Like, that's unique. Is that something that's happening in your industry right now?
I think it is. It is actually starting to happen. People are talking about it. Other trainers are talking about it. Experts are talking about it, that there really is a much bigger, there's a parallel that people aren't realizing. there's so much more than just the physical aspect of it. It's what it does for you mentally and physically, but also where is your mindset around all of these things? Because also too, to that point, a lot of people in this industry and people who look at training or fitness or nutrition don't have a great mindset about it. They have this all or nothing mindset.
Like this tough,
which
mental
is,
tough. Like you can't even, don't talk about that. All right, I'm tough. Got it.
And you can't, that's not always the answer.
Sure.
You know, that might work for some people, but it doesn't work for everybody. So we have to kind of break it down and see what people, it really is a very intimate, like I said earlier, it's a very intimate thing to trust people, somebody else with your health. It is.
Wow.
And somebody that's not a doctor.
Right.
So for me, it really is important that I tackle all of these areas because it goes beyond that physical part. If they're not there mentally, if they're not connected mentally to what they're doing, that half hour of training that we did or that hour training session, that could mean nothing at the end of the day. Even though I'm happy that you moved your body, all of the other things have to stack on it for a positive effect.
Interesting.
So the mindset really is everything.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, you've done, when you tell your story, you could literally see 15 years of building. Like, this whole podcast is about you just like laying bricks. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is like, I need people to understand. I need you aspiring entrepreneurs out here to understand what this really looks like. Like, you're an example of what this really looks like day to day. You know, becoming part of a community, immersing yourself into the community, showing up in crisis in the community, being able to start a second business in the community because of your brand, because of your name. Like it was pretty fast, mainly because of your brand, right? Obviously, you're doing something that isn't being done around here. People are interested, but if you had no name brand and you didn't immerse yourself in the community, it'd be a lot harder. Fair enough? Is that fair?
Yeah.
So your track record, like, really helped, definitely, which is great, right? And so when I think about that, and I think about like business building through thick and thin, through, highs and lows, through all the things, you have to find a way to kind of incorporate personal life, kind of downtime, resting time. I'm not hearing that. I know you do it.
Not a great job of it.
But, how do you balance, how would you encourage an entrepreneur? I mean, obviously there's the upstart where it's like you're fighting to survive. Yeah. But then how do you balance, the business and your kind of downtime or me time or personal life?
It's hard, I won't lie, especially now with 2 locations. It's a lot harder, but it's necessary. And like you know me well enough to know by now that like my family is everything to me. Like I'm very close to my family, and that's a priority for me. So while I have to prioritize it, it's not something that takes a lot of work for me to prioritize it, if that makes sense. Because my family, like I said, is everything to me. So I'm getting to a point now, especially now that Rebel is like 6 months old. We went away last weekend, finally, for the first time. So that was necessary and very nice. We got a really nice break, but it's really hard to pull yourself away when you're that immersed in the business. It's hard. I really have to force myself to shut down. Catch myself checking my phone a little bit too often. Because I'm just that person. I like to be there. I like to make sure that I'm there to support people. But I have to keep reminding myself, and thank God for Bill too, because he does a great job of reminding me too, that I need to take it down a notch. And really, for me to be able to fill other people's cup, I have to refill my own.
Sure, makes sense.
So yes, I have to.
Yep.
Otherwise, you burn out, and you know what that feels like too. If you can go 0 to 100 for only so long.
Sometimes I'm looking at that iPad. I'm like, it's time. I'm like, Steph, you gotta like go somewhere. Yes. She's like, I'm working on it. I remember this year saying, you've been working 7 days a week for how long?
7 days a week since January.
Right? I'm like, dude, you need a break.
Yeah.
Like, I support your break. So I'm gonna wrap with this. I mean, like, we like speak life, sowing seeds today for tomorrow's harvest. And, you know, you have sown so many seeds into your community and into the people that call HardBodyz their home and now call Rebel their home. And all of these different hats you wear, but you know, you've done a lot philanthropically in the community and giving back, and you know, you're always involved, and if there's a way you can jump in, you do it.
1000%.
You know? And so I see the harvest. Sometimes when you're in it, you're like, maybe I've had a few crops that I've been able to eat, but you know, you know what I'm saying? But with HardBodyz, with Rebel Core, you know, what are you seeing for the future? What is the harvest? What does the harvest look like?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm just getting started. HardBodyz this year, we really took an interest in building our programs within the gym. So we are really growing as far as the programs that we're offering. We started a new Kid Fit program and Teen Fit program, which is amazing. Coach AJ runs that program, and he basically, it's a beautiful thing, because what we're seeing is over the past few years, it's not a lot for kids outside of sports. And unless kids are in team sports, there's really not too much going on for them.
When are these?
So
I'd love to get my kids involved in this.
This
When
is like small groups that teach kids. They're all the time.
Really?
Yeah, they're great.
We have
They're
to talk
amazing.
about that. That's
yes,
amazing.
we'll talk more about it. But it's beautiful because it's giving kids the foundation to learn from a young age that moving your body is a positive thing and not punishment.
That's
right?
great.
But it's also giving them the foundation that they're learning. They're expending energy, which we know all kids need to do.
Yeah.
And they have such a positive role model in AJ.
He's great.
Oh my God, he's amazing. Like, I love him. I literally tell him every day, I'm like, you're amazing. And he is. I genuinely mean that.
Yeah.
Him too. He has such a passion for this that he took this and ran with it.
Yeah.
And he's doing amazing with it. So we're really, and also too, aside from Kin Fit and Teen Fit, we also have an adaptive fitness program that we're building, which is a beautiful thing for people with special needs. Same thing. After a certain age, unfortunately, they age out of a lot of programs that are state run and state provided. And there's nothing for them. There's nothing that they can do. And so now we're bringing them in, either one-on-one or small groups, and allowing them to move their bodies safely and teach them about nutrition and stuff like that, where they wouldn't necessarily have an outlet to do that.
Right.
So that's where we're focusing on the future for HardBodyz, is growing within our team and in programs that we offer. Again, just immersing ourselves in more of the community, being able to help more of the community.
Nice.
And kind of same for Rebel. We want to get more involved. We want to grow to some new locations. We're close to, hopefully, God willing, location number 2. So we'll see. But yeah, that too is growing.
Right.
And, you know, people, like I said, have had such a positive reaction to it that it makes me want to give that to more people.
Right.
To reach more people with this. So that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. Onward and upward, and hopefully some vacations sprinkled in.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing with us. I mean, you're so driven. You're so motivated. I think, you know, especially after listening to you right now, you're so motivated by people and by seeing people move and flex and kind of get out of their own head. You know, as many times you'll tell me, hey, make sure you do your cardio right after the session. But what do you say? Before your body even realizes? What do you say?
Do your cardio before your brain figures out what you're doing.
Because I don't want to do my cardio, man. It's like a little kid, you know, having to brush their teeth. I don't want to brush my teeth. I know it's good for me, but what do you want from me, man?
It works, though. I get the after pictures. It works.
I know. So, I mean, again, I think ambassador is the right word. You are an ambassador for what you do. You instill hope and vision and, you know, just encouragement, I think is another strong word for you, into people to allow them to embrace their fitness journey even the more. So thank you so much for what you're doing in your community, and that you are a beacon of light in your community and helping so many. And you're I feel like what you just said, you're just getting started. Your reach you have not reached even an ounce of where you're going. And so it's amazing. Thank you so much, Steph.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you.
Speaking life with my girl, Steph. I'll be in Rebel this weekend to get my butt kicked. Thank y'all for listening. Appreciate you. Thanks, Steph. God bless.